So the reason why they are trying to sexualize the children in school is so that they are able to make young children, let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, to make them say that they are, for example, instead of a boy, they are a girl. And if they're able to make them say those kind of stuff, and then, they will put in the laws to be able to act upon it by giving them, the transgender drugs, give them steroids, give them estrogen, like you've probably heard a few times already. If they're able to give those kind of drugs and change their sexuality, even though it's not completely possible to change the whole sexuality, but they will say that the girl is now a boy and that it's a true, natural, 100% boy. And the reason why they say that and act like it is so that you lose touch with reality. And the moment you lose that touch with reality, then it's real easy to keep that up, to keep that more extreme, like saying that a boy who's 4 years old, if he says he is 20 years old, that's true. He's 20 years old now because he said so. And the moment they're capable of doing that, then they are also capable of saying that a 5-year-old boy who says he's 20 is then 20, and they can do adult stuff with the 5-year-old boy, which is very sick. The most, and I think the most people are protesting, like counter-protesting this type of sexual behavior. They're just so in their own head thinking of how good of a person they are by being LGBTQ plus and supporting, transgenderism and standing up for the minority, but they do not realize that they're just being used by some very evil people to be able to use pedophilia on young children. So you better be aware for your own children where you send them to, especially in the United States and Canada, because if you send them to the wrong schools, the results will not be pretty. Like they will get mental disorders because they're conflicted with themselves, with the sexuality. They will maybe become a transgender, which again is not per definition a bad thing, but it's, you in the end of the story, you don't wish anyone to be a transgender because it's not a fun thing for no one. Maybe it's at the end of the story the best solution, but I don't think that anyone who's a transgender would like to be a transgender in the end. I think if they would have a choice, they would want to be. I don't think they want to be transgender if they had a choice. If they could be like reborn in the way how they want to be born, they wouldn't want to be a transgender because it's not a fun thing. You can see it by the suicide percentage. It's not a good thing for most people. So be aware where you send your children to school to. And it's not over, this stuff. They will increase and keep on the pressure. It's now in Canada, United States. Mostly it will go to Europe. It's part of the World Economic Forum. If you don't know, World Economic Forum, the Great Reset, look it up and prepare. Good luck.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and I'm here at a drag queen story time for little kids. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Here in Kitsilano, Vancouver, they're inviting children aged 3 to 10 to witness a drag performance. And there's a bit of a protest going on behind me and a lot of counter-protesters, if you can believe that. So today we're going to try to talk to some of them to find out what brings them here today. Would you guys be up for doing an interview? I'm trying to speak to people on... Oh, no? Are you here in support, or...?
Oh, I'm clearly here in support, because this is my neighborhood. I live here. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to blow bubbles with me?
No, I'm not interested in blowing bubbles.
Just bubbles? You're not interested in bubbles?
No, I'm not interested in bubbles. I'm interested in protecting children.
Holy. Yeah. Well, I'm only interested in bubbles.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me, because this is harmful to children.
Kitsilano? And bubbles rule here.
Yeah, and what's happening here is harmful to children and detrimental to society.
You're so sweet. Here, come here.
No, I don't need to...
Oh.
Be surrounded by you.
But why?
Why? What do you hope?
But I just want to give you bubbles.
Are you just gonna keep walking up on me?
Oh, but you felt it was okay to get in my personal space,
no, I didn't.
Right?
Yeah, well,
no, you were
up
this.
on me now.
No, right. So if I walk away, we'll agree that we're not going to get in anybody's personal space again.
Sure.
Okay, bye.
It's pretty shameful what you're doing here. They sing the song "All You Need Is Love," when really it's more loving to be truthful. Interesting, singing the song "All You Need Is Love," when truly it's more loving to be truthful to children.
Parents, grandparents, families, and people that are in the knowing of a bigger picture of an agenda that has been rolled out for years and now is being more exposed. And we can detect it. And it's not an easy agenda to be familiar with. As an educator and a mother, I was devastated learning through websites and through material that been vetted in many sources of what the globalists are creating in terms of gender dysphoria and transhumanism. So we have nothing against the LGBTQ plus community. Actually, some people from the community are here because they feel that those kind of programs actually paint them in a very bad color. So we are for diversity, we are for inclusivity, and we are for truth and for going deeper and not just be polite under the guise of labels, but to see what's behind some things that intuitively feel wrong for me as a mother and as an educator.
And I noticed the name of one of them is Satanics. Did you see that?
Correct, Satanics.
Yeah.
I mean,
Satanics, yeah.
we asked about that, and the Kids House director said that they've looked into the material and they felt it was safe enough for kids.
So, I mean, this is almost like a phenomenon going around the world. And what do you guys think is happening? Are people trying to be more inclusive by bringing children in? Or is there an underlying agenda of grooming children into becoming questionable about their very own biological sex at such a young age? What do you guys think is behind this?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely danger that comes into play in terms of a child's understanding of themselves when we know that children are that children are easily influenced, and so that is there should be some red flags that are raised for people when outside influence is coming to have them question themselves.
What are you preparing for?
I have a YouTube channel and a website that's called Press for Truth, and like I just kind of come to these types of events and get both sides from everybody. So
Press for Truth.
yeah. So why don't you tell us what brought you here today?
Because it's important for people across the gender and sexuality spectrum and all people in general to be treated with respect, kindness, and care. And we live in a country where we're allowed to practice our free speech. And on a day like today, this provides an opportunity for children and young people to learn from a group of people who are chronically marginalized and underrepresented. And I think it's a beautiful thing that they're able to do that. I heard that there were people that would be protesting against it, and I wanted to advocate for my free speech and advocate for this group of people who deserve to be supported.
I agree. People should be inclusive of others, no matter what their sexual identity is. It really doesn't matter. But the issue comes in for most people is when it comes to children as young as 3 years old. Do you think a 3-year-old should be learning about sexuality at that age?
Absolutely. I think children of all ages should be learning about sexuality. Young children experience gender and sexual dysphoria at a young age. And as a result, I think it's important that children at a young age are learning about the gender and sexuality spectrum. That's my personal opinion on it.
How young is too young? Surely there's a line. Wow. So obviously this is getting a little heated.
Pro-sexual education, I don't think that there's an age that's too young. Children are by nature human beings that can be subjected to sexual assault and sexual violence. Children also have, sexual orientation at a young age, and that's a thing that exists, and children should be able to make decisions about their own sexual orientation.
So a 3-year-old has the ability and capability, in your mind, to make a life-altering decision about their future, and you think they should be able to do that?
I think they should be able to do that, yeah.
Drag queens are common in clubs and stuff like that. that's not the whole point of the activity.
Okay, so when was the last time you saw a drag queen not dressed up in a hypersexualized way?
I mean, I don't know. I don't, actively watch that many drag queens, but that's not
Do you
like
think it's ever happened.
Maybe you could weigh in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've seen them dressing
He's
up
just
like
looking for outrage,
dotty
right?
old
He
grandmothers
live
have?
streams and puts stuff on Twitter to make people
Oh, here she
angry.
comes.
So if you don't feel like
So-
engaging with this, please just keep
Like
your
all
mouth
of these
shut.
little
Like, you don't have
social
to.
justice warriors, her job is to
Thank
silence
you.
all
I
comments.
didn't know what to do.
Because they can't handle debate.
You can just stand there and say
you can't
nothing.
handle debate.
You can stand there.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
No, but I'm just saying. She said we don't have to talk about.
No,
it
I'm
if you don't
aware.
want to.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. What was the last thing that you said?
I'm just wondering, why is it so important that these hypersexualized gay men dressing up as women need to read stories to preschoolers and kindergartners?
So why do you keep bringing it back to sex?
Well, that's what it's all about.
Okay, but that is.
You want to see a video of one of these drag queens at a drag show
I think that's.
reading porn to the audience? Do you want me to show that to you?
All right, here with Billboard Chris. Why don't you tell us what brought you out here today, my friend?
Well, we got a couple drag queens doing drag queen story hour and doing their performance for a bunch of preschoolers and kindergartners. It's for 3 to 10-year-old children. So I don't really understand why we have hypersexualized caricatures of women reading stories to little children. What's the point of that?
And you've been to a lot of these, and there seems to always be counter-protesters that show up to this. Boy, oh boy, are these guys on the wrong side of history. What do you have to say to the counter-movement against this protest?
I don't really have words to describe the type of people who think this is great. I don't understand it. I think there's something wrong with their brains. When you look at the people that often are counter-protesters at these things, they don't look like healthy individuals. So maybe they didn't have a father growing up. Maybe they've suffered trauma or abuse or whatever. Maybe they're on psychiatric medications. Who knows? But these people have a screw loose.
What's your main message that you would like to someday get through to these people, or at least to concerned parents out there who may not even be aware this is happening?
We have a concerted effort being pushed by several organizations with hundreds of millions of dollars to teach our children that there's no such thing as objective truth, that being a boy or a girl is just a choice, that puberty is a medical condition, and that all this sexualized business going on with drag queens and everything is just normal. It's a queerification of society, and it's not okay. We've got to put a stop to it. We have a Conservative Party in Canada which is completely impotent. They never speak up against any of this business. I don't know what they're trying to conserve unless it's Trudeau's latest policies. But it's going to take regular people and parents to stand up to put a stop to this stuff because the left is out of control.
This has almost turned into like a movement that is not only normalizing pedophilia, but all out sexualizing young children. It's like a movement now.
It is, yeah. It's sick. We need to stand up against it. We need to stop being afraid of being called names. If you're called a transphobe today, that doesn't mean anything. Wear it as a badge of honor. All it means is that you're on the side of reality and that you don't want children getting sterilized and mutilated, because they're doing that to kids. They're giving them drugs which stop their bodies going into puberty. They're giving them hormones that don't belong in their body. The whole thing is a mad science experiment on kids, and we need to put a stop to it. And we need to put a stop to this stuff too. It's all tied together.
People don't wear those promoting a man dressing like a woman performing in front of children, and you feel damn happy about it, right? So I think it's time to stand up and go to those events and stop them. That's it.
Okay, why don't you start by telling us what brought you out here today?
Well, yeah. I wanted to expose the drag queen stories that are happening in Vancouver right now. So, yeah. So I went on the Instagram account and download all of their pictures and start to share this on social media to bring awareness about it. And yeah, so that's what bring me here today.
This almost seems to be like a movement. These things happen in towns all over the place. Why do you think this is growing so big and so many of these are happening everywhere?
Well, I think it's happening because we allowed this to happen. So they have with all the sexual propaganda that's going on all over the country, they have groomed the parents to believe that that's what they are doing, it's okay, including having men dressed like a woman, in the over-sexualization of women, exposing themselves to children. So yeah. So
it's remarkable that there are counter-protesters showing up here when we literally have children as young as 3 years old. What do you think about the people who are against you?
I think they're blind. I think they're blind by the ideology, or they're just completely evil, in my opinion. You know, if someone believes that we should. Those who believe that we should mutilate the breasts of little girls, those who believe that we should give puberty blockers to children, testosterone and estrogen, and those who believe that it's okay for men to be very sexualized in front of children, I think all those people are evil. That's my opinion. You know, it's just, yeah, it's pretty simple.
Why don't you let them play and be innocent? Why do you not want kids to be innocent anymore? What is it in you that needs to sexualize kids? What is it? You can't even answer because you don't fucking know. That's the problem. You don't know why you want to sexualize kids. They shouldn't even know what it is till they're 10 or 12.
You know what you're doing
Why
is
do you
wrong.
want to sexualize children with men in G-strings? What is the point? What is the point? Let you answer. What is the point? Answer.
You're on the wrong side of history here,
She
guys.
doesn't have an answer because she's in a cult. She doesn't know. She actually doesn't know why she wants to sexualize children. How is sexualizing